Saturday after a week of being off, and I know it was only a week, but after like 3 months of UFC every single Saturday, you get a little spoiled. So, yeah, I missed it a ton, but it did give me a Saturday to set up for spooky season, and I love spooky season, so it's okay. I'll miss one Saturday so I can put my spooky things up. However, we now have a card to kick off spooky season. UFC Vegas 80 is this Saturday, and the first fight I'm going to talk about is the first fight on the card to kick off this first card of spooky season. Montana De La Rosa versus JJ Aldrich. Now, JJ, she's taking this fight on short notice. However, she's feeling confident about it because she did mention that her last fight was a win and she didn't really get hurt, so she feels good about that, and she really only had to gain a little bit of weight for it, so she's not really stressing too much. She did say that if she was ever going to take a fight on short notice, that this is prime time for her, so we'll see how it works out for her. Now, this fight is interesting to me because these two ladies have trained together, so they know behind the curtain information. I am very interested to see how these two act and react when it comes to different tactics that they're going to throw out, because not everybody trains with their future opponents. So I know that she is excited about this. However, looking at their resumes, Montana, she has a few more fights. She also does have a slight height advantage, and she's a few years younger. But I think that she has fought tougher opponents. And so in the end, I think this is really going to benefit her with everything else. And I think that Montana is going to submit her because Montana, she likes to win by submission with her opponents. About 65% of her fights are that. JJ, she likes to go to decision. And that's just a terrible idea. Never let it go to the judges. So if that's the case and JJ's trying to go to decision, Montana, she's probably going to try to submit her. So give me Montana for this first fight of spooky season. Moving right on to the main card, I cannot wait for this fight. I think it's going to be really interesting to see Drew Dober versus Ricky Glenn. These two guys, they have a lot of experience. Their last fight was a loss. It was earlier this year around the same time, and they're both using their young children as motivation. So they have similar goals, but they don't have similar fight styles. Now, Ricky, he is very well-rounded. He's skillful in what he does. Drew, he really likes to knock people out and shake things up a bit. Ricky said in a press conference that he's going to try to keep this fight calm, cool, collected. He wants to keep it simple. However, Drew, he's a character. This guy is crazy, and he likes to shake things up. If a fight is going a certain way and it's not really suiting him, Drew will shake it up and change it until it does. And I think that's what's going to happen in this one. Drew did say that he loves to live in the chaos, and I think he's going to make it real chaotic for Ricky. So I also did notice Drew is really excited and he's really ready for this fight. I think mentally he's already won, so I think on Saturday we're going to see him actually win for real. So give me Drew in this one against Ricky. And last up, the main event, Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. Now, Bobby Green, he is coming off of a win. He beat Tony Ferguson. I love Tony Ferguson, but I've said this before. I feel like Tony should have retired 3 fights ago. And I'm probably going to be saying this again when he fights Paddy Pimblett, and I do not want him to retire on a loss to Paddy the Baddy, but you know what? That's a future video. So, Grant Dawson, he is on an 11-fight win streak. This guy hasn't lost since 2016, so Bobby Green should be real nervous about that. I know Bobby is very theatrical. He's bringing a lot of attention to this fight just because of the way that he is, but he does also like to mess around, and you know what they say about messing around and then finding out. I think he's going to find out this Saturday. Grant is not going to play any games. Bobby Green gives me big Anderson Silva vibes with the whole showboating in the octagon. Grant ain't going to have time for that. Bobby can do that, but that's just going to wear himself out. And Grant, he likes to submit his opponents. 65% of the time, he usually wins by submission. That could very well likely happen in this fight, and honestly, I kind of think it will. But you let me know what you think. Leave some comments below. Tell me if there's a fight that you're more interested on this card, how you think these are going to go. And, we can also watch this together because I love to follow along on Twitter. I watch every single fight from the first prelim to the very, very end. So if we can watch it together, there's always something to comment about. There's always something crazy going on with these cards, especially the first card for spooky season. So I am so ready, as you can tell. But either way, let's get it. Knockout Blow!